Cy Hoffman.
Wait, the Cy Hoffman?
Hey, excuse me, necktie. Can we run that again? Only this time, I'd like it to be, and now, presenting three-time Tony nominee Cy Hoffman. It's like sir or doctor. It's a legal term.
In case you couldn't tell, the defendant is a Broadway producer.
Who I refuse to defend on the grounds of I hate him.
Counselor, if you refused to represent every client you hated, you'd never work.
That's the dream. Let us talk about you as a person, Howie. Now, we know that you've been dropping nets on your neighbors because you believe them to be secret lizards. But I want to get to know the man behind the nets. So how did we get here?
I believe the Constitution guarantees me the right to a human attorney, not a bug-eating lizard lawyer.
Okay. Were you attacked by a salamander when you were a kid? Did your dad leave your mom for a gecko? Paint me the science fiction country song that is your life.
Let me put this into words you'll understand.
Your Honor, the defendant was caught with the stolen items in her purse.
Your Honor, my client, Mrs. Jazzer.
It's Ms. Jazzer.
Noted. Ms. Jazzer.
You can call me Helen.
The defendant had no idea that
My husband's in a coma.
Objection, Your Honor. The defendant is groping her attorney.
Given these cans are full of steroids, I have a hard time buying your physique is simply a result of clean living and spinach.
Your Honor, I wish I had more of a defense, but his statement simply reads, I'm strong to the finish because I eats me spinach. Good.
Why do you talk like that?
It's the roids.
6 months probation and $1,000 fine. Maybe working a leg day.
First up, we have Mr. Churchill, who's accused of attempted robbery.
Your Honor, the security camera footage clearly places the defendant at the scene of the crime.
So grainy footage that could be either my client or Bigfoot?
Well, we don't even need the camera footage because we have an eyewitness.
Oh, sorry, Your Honor. The witness could have seen anyone. My client has an undeniable everyman look. He could be mistaken for anyone in this gallery.
Counselor, is your defense just finding people who look like your client?
What? Do they? Oh, yes! My God. They do.
Carmine, what are you doing here?
I got caught robbing this lady's store.
He's joking. The only thing my client is guilty of is possession of a razor-sharp wit.
The law clearly stipulates that no person shall withhold payment for services rendered.
Agreed, but when a haircut is this bad, hasn't he already paid enough?
Not guilty, but I will recommend house arrest for 3 to 4 weeks and a really big hat.
The defendant is charged with disorderly conduct for bringing an uncontained animal onto the subway.
Your Honor, there's a very simple and extremely legal explanation for this. It was a service animal.
It was a horse.
A mini horse, nay, a seeing eye mini horse, and according to New York versus Pongo, mini horses are allowed on public transit.
Obviously, I gotta get a look at this guy.
Fred Hilderman is charged with operating an illegal vehicle down the West Side Highway.
Your Honor, the defendant was caught driving this to work in an attempt to make his morning commute, quote, radical.
We ask for leniency, as this vehicle is far less annoying than those bird scooters.
I'm surprised you feel that way. You love watching people fall off things. As for you, $200 fine and traffic school. Sorry to burst your bubble.
Wait, you don't have any horrible diseases, do you?
First up, the city versus Malcolm Richardson, a.k.a. Malcolm FX.
Your Honor, the defendant was caught defacing the statue of Christopher Columbus in Central Park by covering his head with this.
I was trying to flush that piece of...
Children.
The defendant was arrested for barricading patrons into a Home Depot and blasting Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville through the PA system for 6 hours.
Your Honor, my client was merely following instructions personally given to her by Satan.
And when you say Satan, you mean...
The main one.
Satan is my father.
City of New York versus John Ott. Mr. Ott is charged with drunken disorderly conduct.
Your Honor, the defendant entered a Broadway-themed drag show, jumped on stage, removed his clothes, and then made off with Josephine's Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Your Honor, this behavior is not typical for my client. He had a few too many Sondheim slings while celebrating the conclusion of a tech project that was years in the making. As far as the wardrobe malfunction, many said that the nudity was tasteful and integral to the plot. Case dismissed.
All right, Mr. Magnificent, let's see what you got.
You think you're better than this
Oh, hang on. I'm gonna need to hear the voice.
You think you are better than this place and are desperate to work at a big firm.
Well, that's obvious. I'm not just gonna rot here like Paul.
I'd love to disagree, but this isn't how a 30-year-old man should look.
You took this job to minimize expectations, and you're in a hurry to leave, but have no place to go.
Okay, she might be magic.
What number am I thinking of? All of them. Get out of my head.
Okay, now me.
I'm sensing you are career-driven.
Because I'm young for a judge.
I'm seeing you are new to this place.
Because I was unsure of my clerk's name.
But as successful as you are unlucky in love.
Because I'm not wearing a ring. Which I took off to set you up. I'm very happily engaged. My fiancé is upstate and moving down soon.
Oh, you're going to fry.
Not quite. 50 hours of community service.
I'm what's known as an olfactophile, someone who appreciates the world through smell. And if it's a crime to use our most powerful sense to experience the greatest city in the world, then, madam, lock me up.
That is not a crime. But you know what is? Hiding under a park bench to sniff butts. 3 months. Enjoy all the smells that jail has to offer.
Mr. Crab is charged with a D&D. Drunken disorderly while playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Your Honor, my client is a Class 18 barbarian ogre who got a little too into character swinging his war horn. That is not a euphemism. It would be a little less embarrassing if it was.
Says here your client was drunk and brandishing a weapon. So seems pretty straightforward.
Yes, yes. There are just maybe a few details that you should consider. They were celebrating the wedding of Condor the Paladin and Mordecai the Warg. And you know how people get at weddings.
The court is only interested in facts from this realm, so can we wrap it up, counselor?
But I learned nerd for this.
You were caught in the possession of performance-enhancing drugs, and what they did to my downstairs should be punishment enough is not an acceptable defense.
How before and after pictures, John? Oh, I specifically told you not to bring those.
I looked in the folder. I saw them, and now I can't unsee them.
The McMurrays are charged with disturbing the peace outside a bodega in St. Mark's Place.
Your Honor, my clients were just involved in a lover's squabble, nothing serious. Some words were exchanged. Some produce was thrown.
Nothing serious? It was attempted murder. She threw garlic at me.
And it's attempted murder because...
They're vampires.
All right, counselor, please tell me in excruciating detail what Mr. A is charged with.
Unfortunately, the defendant has decided to defend himself.
Why is that unfortunate?
He's an auctioneer.
Up to the gunner, asking to get 7 stones. No! Can I get 6? Bit looking at 5. Do I hear 4? 3. Bit looking at 2. Can't get 2. Can't get 1. Do I hear there are no stones? I do. Up comes the knife, plunged into the chest of the man behind the counter, and I'm guilty. Going once, going twice. Last and final call. I'm guilty.
Mr. Umansky, do you drink grape soda?
My client has already stated that he's not a fan. It's his son who likes it.
Was your son with you at the hotel on the night in question?
Clearly, you've never had an affair. Kids totally killed the vibe.
Mr. and Mrs. Beeler are charged with instigating a food fight at the Times Square Bubba Gump Shrimp.
Interesting. I didn't know they served food at Bubba Gump Shrimp.
In their statement, the couple blames their altercation on the restaurant's lack of cell service, forcing them to, quote, talk to each other.
I know there are disagreements in every marriage, but culinary violence is never the answer. $100 fine.
Believe it or not, you're the third defendant this week with shrimp in their hair.
Mr. Crane is charged with disorderly conduct after forcing his way into the kitchen at Chez Louis and demanding to sanitize his dishes.
Disorderly conduct. As a man with OCD, my client is incapable of being disorderly, according to these 5 hermetically sealed doctor's notes.
Humanity is in a silent war with germs, and we're losing.
Losing!
Mr. Crane, only the Board of Health is allowed to burst into a kitchen unannounced, and even they would frown upon Windexing vegetables. $100 fine and community. Where is my gavel?
You smell good, like a dirty martini with a lemon pledge twist.
Next up, the People versus Pam Allen.
Your Honor, defense moves to have this case dismissed due to my client's debilitating medical condition.
If I may ask, what condition is that?
Defendant claims she's a werewolf.
Actually, Your Honor, she would be a whiff wolf, since were is Old English for man.
Patriarchy strikes again.
None of this excuses the fact that Miss Allen bit the ankle of an innocent delivery man, then chased his truck and humped a child's teddy bear.
Your Honor, try to put yourself in my client's paws. She was very much on edge. There were fireworks, and someone nearby was running a vacuum cleaner.
My neighbors are monsters.
In light of the circumstances, it would be beneficial to get the facts of the case from the defendant himself.
You really want this boob to do his thing?
Quiet, Dan. The show's starting. Ooh, you're sad? Because you did a bad thing.
What could you possibly be typing?
And you throw yourself at the mercy of the court.
Objection. He's charged with murder.
That does make this less fun. I'll let a jury decide what happens to you. For now, time to go back in a box.
On the bright side, no one can accuse you of being a snitch.
I'm not sure that the best way to capture the holiday spirit is to, quote, bust into Santa's dumb little house and drag his fat ass back to work.
She did not know that Santa's little house was also his bathroom.
I needed her to meet Santa so I could find out what she wants for Christmas. She thinks if she tells anyone else, it won't come true.
Those are birthday candle rules.
Her father told her that's how it worked, to screw with me before he left for Cabo with his new girlfriend and her parents, who are my age.
I know you're having a hard time, but he also traumatized a group of kids and the free sample guy from Orange Julius. $500 fine.
But Your Honor...
Here it comes!
It's Christmas.
The defendant was involved in an altercation over a jar of pickles at the Union Square Farmers Market.
Mr. Verma instigated a melee that led to him being tossed into a display of Amish gourds. The charges are destruction of property and defiling a pumpkin.
Not on purpose. I landed on it wrong.
Granny left us a Manhattan townhouse. A charming 2-bed, 2-bath, and haunted as the day is long.
Those poor ghosts.
Luckily, we knew how to get rid of them suckers. Sacrifice a sheep.
But when we got the sheep, we fell in love with them.
It was just friend love. We couldn't kill him, so we got another sheep, and then we fell in love with that sheep, too.
That happened another 74 times.
At least we think it was 74. Every time we try counting them, we fall asleep.
Your client has a history of violent outbursts. She's thrown phones at David's Beckham, Copperfield, and Schwimmer.
2 out of anger. 1 out of love.